Elvis Aaron Presley, January 8, 1935, August 16, 1977, was an American singer and actor. Referred to as the King of Rock and Roll, he is regarded as one of the most significant cultural figures of the 20th century. There are moments in history when time feels like it holds its breath. One of those moments came on a warm August day in 1977, when the world suddenly grew quiet. Radios played his songs a little softer. Families sat in stunned silence. Fans cried in disbelief. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was gone. And just like that, an entire era felt like it had come to an end. But Elvis wasn't just a singer. He was the voice that moved hearts, rattled minds, and turned teenage dreams into fire. With one curled lip and a swing of his hips, he broke the rules and rewrote what it meant to be a star. When he sang, it wasn't just music. It was electricity, running wild through the airwaves and crashing into living rooms across America. He wasn't just heard. He was felt. To see Elvis perform was to witness something unforgettable. His presence was magnetic, almost unreal. Crowds didn't just watch him, they worshipped him. Grown adults wept. Teenagers screamed. Cameras couldn't catch it all. His smile could melt the coldest heart, and his voice, low, smooth, and full of soul, could make you believe in something bigger than yourself. Even off stage, Elvis was larger than life. He wasn't perfect, but he was honest in his imperfections. He loved deeply, laughed freely, and gave more than he ever took. Fans lined the gates of Graceland just for a glimpse, and for those few seconds, they weren't just fans. They were part of his story. That was Elvis's gift. He made everyone feel like they mattered. And somehow, even after all these years, that magic hasn't faded. Somewhere right now, a young boy is hearing Jailhouse Rock for the first time. A grandmother is softly singing Love Me Tender to her grandchild. The music plays on because the soul behind it still stirs something in us. But with greatness often comes sorrow. And the story of Elvis Presley isn't just one of rise and glory. It's also a story of struggle, silence, and goodbye. So what happened? How did a man who gave so much fade away so soon? Long before the glittering lights of Las Vegas and the screaming fans, Elvis Aaron Presley was just a shy boy from Tupelo, Mississippi. Born in 1935 to working-class parents, his early life was marked by poverty and simplicity. He was raised on gospel hymns and the soulful cries of blues drifting through the southern air. He didn't grow up with much, but he had a voice, a dream, and a heart full of rhythm. In 1953, that quiet dream took its first breath at Sun Studio in Memphis. A teenage Elvis walked in to record a song for his mother, but what happened next would change music forever. Studio owner Sam Phillips saw something raw, something electric in the young man. By 1954, the world was introduced to a sound it had never heard before, a sound that fused country, blues, and something entirely new. The birth of rock and roll had arrived. That's All Right was his first single, and it hit the radio like a wildfire. But it was Heartbreak Hotel in 1956 that shook the foundation. The voice was haunting. The swagger was undeniable. America was obsessed and also divided. Parents clutched their pearls. Preachers warned the youth. But teenagers? They couldn't get enough. Elvis wasn't just a musician. He was a movement. With every appearance on TV, especially the legendary Ed Sullivan Show, Elvis stirred a national frenzy. His hips swayed, his voice soared, and his smoldering charisma reached millions. Girls fainted, boys copied his hair, and television censors scrambled to cut the camera away from his dancing legs, but nothing could dim his star. He became a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and youth. By the late 1950s, Elvis had taken over Hollywood too, starring in films like Love Me Tender and Jailhouse Rock. Though critics were divided on his acting, audiences didn't care. He was the face of a new generation, one that craved energy, romance, and defiance. His films were box office gold, and his records sold in the millions. Then came the draft. In 1958, Elvis was sent to serve in the U.S. Army. Many thought it would mark the end of his fame, but Elvis returned 2 years later with even more admiration and respect. He matured, evolved, and entered a new chapter. The late 60s brought his powerful comeback. In 1968, clad in black leather, Elvis stepped onto a small TV stage and reminded the world who he was. That comeback special reignited his career with explosive force. Critics hailed it. Fans wept. The king had returned. By the 1970s, he had become a legend, gracing sold-out arenas and dazzling crowds in his bejeweled jumpsuits. His Vegas shows were iconic. His voice remained rich and commanding. He sang with passion, pain, and pride. Every show felt like a goodbye, even when no one knew it yet. But behind that glory, something was shifting. The smile was still there, but his eyes told another story. Let's look closer at what happened next, when the music dimmed and the man behind the legend began to fade. By the mid-1970s, Elvis Presley was still performing, still drawing crowds, and still wearing the crown. But the world around him had changed, and so had he. Fame had taken its toll. The sparkle in his eyes dimmed a little more with each passing year. The weight of expectations, heartbreak, and exhaustion slowly crept into his life. Though he still sang to packed theaters, there was a deep sadness beneath the surface, a man trapped in the legend he created. He was only in his early 40s, but years of stress, a demanding tour schedule, and health struggles had worn him down. The once energetic rock star now looked tired, often unwell. Still, Elvis refused to stop. He kept performing, giving every last ounce of himself to his fans. It was as if he knew the stage was the only place where he still felt truly alive. Behind the gates of Graceland, his private sanctuary, Elvis lived in near isolation. Friends and family said he was lonely, surrounded by people, yet somehow alone. He struggled with insomnia, weight fluctuations, and relied heavily on prescription medication to function. But through it all, he remained kind, generous, and deeply loyal to those he loved. August 16, 1977 began like any other day. But that morning, the silence that fell over Graceland was unlike any other. Elvis was found unresponsive in his bathroom by his fiancée, Ginger Alden. Attempts to revive him failed. The king of rock and roll was gone at just 42 years old. The news shattered the world. As headlines spread, fans poured into Memphis by the thousands. Some collapsed in tears. Others stood in stunned silence. Many simply couldn't believe it. The man who had once seemed immortal had vanished without warning. Candlelight vigils lit the streets outside Graceland. People from every corner of the globe wept, holding photos, albums, and trembling memories close to their hearts. The cause of death was ruled as a heart attack, worsened by years of physical and emotional stress. But the truth was far more complex. Elvis didn't die from one thing, he died from everything. The pressure, the fame, the loneliness, the expectations, it all added up. In the days that followed, tributes poured in. Celebrities mourned, radio stations played his songs on repeat, and the world tried to come to terms with the loss. But some part of us still hasn't. Because how do you say goodbye to someone who never really left? Elvis wasn't just a star, he was a piece of our souls. His music wasn't just sound, It was memory, identity, comfort, and though his body was laid to rest, his voice never stopped singing. It echoes still in every jukebox, in every broken heart, in every rising star chasing a dream. But his story doesn't end here, because legends by nature don't die, they transform. Elvis Presley may have left this world in 1977, but his presence never truly faded. In fact, in many ways, he feels more alive now than ever. His voice continues to echo across generations, filling car radios, concert halls, and quiet living rooms with the same magic it once did decades ago. For many, Elvis isn't just a musician from the past. He's a part of the present. Walk through Graceland today, and you'll see it. Fans from around the globe gather, young and old, speaking different languages, but sharing the same awe. They come to feel close to him, to stand where he stood, to glimpse the life behind the legend. Graceland isn't just a house. It's a monument, a time capsule, a living memory. Tributes to Elvis continue to pour in, year after year. On the anniversary of his passing, candlelight vigils light up the Memphis night sky. Artists cover his songs, trying to capture the emotion he so effortlessly delivered. Movies, documentaries, and even animated features have told his story to new audiences. The 2022 film, simply titled Elvis Reignited Global Interest, reminding us all just how powerful his story remains. His influence stretches far beyond music. From fashion to film, stage presence to vocal styling, Elvis laid the foundation. Without him, there might never have been a Beatles invasion or a moonwalking Michael Jackson. The chains he broke and the doors he opened helped shape the very fabric of pop culture as we know it. And yet it's the simple moments, the quiet plays of Can't Help Falling in Love at weddings, or the soft croon of Blue Christmas during the holidays, that keep him closest to us. His songs aren't just melodies, they're emotions. They're pieces of people's lives, woven into their memories like threads in a cherished quilt. Young musicians still cite him as their inspiration. Fans still dress like him. Impersonators still sell out shows. But more importantly, people still feel him. In every heartfelt lyric, every rebellious note, and every flicker of stage light, Elvis remains. Elvis. Because Elvis Presley was never just about the music. He was about the feeling, the fire, the freedom. And feelings don't die, they endure. As long as hearts break and dreams rise, as long as music plays and memories linger, the king will never truly be gone. But even the greatest stories need a closing chapter. So now let's say our final goodbye, with the love and reverence a legend deserves. And now we come to the hardest part, saying goodbye. But how do you say farewell to someone who gave the world so much? How do you let go of a voice that shaped generations, a smile that lit up millions of hearts, and a presence that felt larger than life? With Elvis, you don't say goodbye. You say, thank you. Thank you for the music that made us dance when life felt heavy. Thank you for the words that spoke when we couldn't. Thank you for daring to be different, for breaking the mold, and for standing proud in a world that didn't always understand you. Elvis didn't just perform, he gave, and in return, we carry him with us. Some say legends fade, but Elvis did something more powerful. He became eternal. His image remains frozen in time, yet his voice moves through the present. He's the jukebox in the corner diner, the vinyl record passed down through families, the sudden song on the radio that makes you pause and remember where you were and who you were with when you first heard him. We often imagine fame as a crown of glory, but for Elvis, it was a weight he carried alone. He gave the world his heart and soul, but in the end, it was his vulnerability, not his stardom, that made him unforgettable. He was one of us, just a boy with a dream and a voice the world couldn't ignore. So tonight, wherever you are, Whether you're a lifelong fan or someone just discovering his story, take a moment. Play your favorite Elvis song, sing it loud. Let the words wrap around you like an old friend. Let the rhythm take you back. Because Elvis Presley isn't gone. Not really. He lives on in every thank you very much, in every echo of Hound Dog, and in every soul that dares to sing without fear. He gave us the soundtrack of our lives, and for that, we'll never stop loving him. Now we want to hear from you. What's your favorite Elvis memory? Was it a concert, a song, a moment that made you smile or brought you to tears? Share it with us in the comments. Let's keep his story alive together. Because legends aren't buried, they're remembered, they're retold, and they live forever. Rest easy, Elvis. You may have left the building, but you never left our hearts.